Well, good morning. Welcome back to Planet Doug. I'm back on my bicycle here in Tanjung Balai, Sumatra. And I'm not sure how this day is going to work out. It's just supposed to be a day trip here in Tanjung Balai. My goal is to ride my bike back to the ferry dock where the boats from Malaysia come, because there's a lot of fishing warehouses there, a lot of fishing boats. I think it's where most of the fishing boats, when they come back from the Malacca Strait, it's where they stop and unload their catch. And I always wanted to just sort of ride my bike along that street slowly and sort of look around and see what's going on. Hello. Morning. And I say I don't know how today is going to turn out, and that's largely because the weather is iffy. I've been sort of waiting for the sun to come out, but the sun has not been cooperating. So even though it's a little bit gray and gloomy, and it's even sprinkling a little bit right now, I thought I would take a chance. If the rain really starts to come down, or it doesn't look like it's going to clear up at all, I can abort the mission and go somewhere closer. It's also an open question whether there's anything really going on out in the fishing dock area, because we're still in the middle of the holidays, the Raya, end of Ramadan celebrations. I think the two official holidays are over, but here in Indonesia they've extended the holidays for the entire week. So everything still feels kind of quiet around me. A lot of businesses are closed. And again, I kind of wanted to go to this area when I knew it would be open and bustling and back to full activity, but I don't know when that's going to be. Yeah, this is a very challenging little intersection when you're on a bicycle. Yeah, a pedestrian or somebody on a bicycle is at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of traffic. So you basically have to get out of everybody else's way. They will just stop in front of you, cut in front of you, do whatever they want, and it's your job as the cyclist to get out of their way no matter what they do. So all the responsibility is on me not to end up in a collision. And the route I'm going to follow, I'm hoping just to go through the market area to have something visually interesting to move through. And again, I don't even know whether the market would be open. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning right now, I think. I would normally have left a lot earlier in the morning, but as I said, I was waiting to see what was going to happen with the weather. Wasn't looking good. Right there's a good example. This guy on the bay check, he just did a U-turn, and he just basically just does the U-turn. And if I didn't hit the brakes, I would have run right into him, because he's not really anticipating anything like that. He just assumes everyone else is going to get out of his way. It's just the way the traffic is. Yeah, Tanjung Balai, as far as I know, doesn't have any street lights at all, no traffic lights. When I got my hair cut a few days ago, I was chatting with the barber, and he'd lived in a couple of different places, including Bali. So I asked him, like, what did he think of Tanjung Balai? Did he like it here? And he said, yeah, he liked it here because, and he came up with a reason that I wasn't expecting. He said he liked it because it was a free city, meaning that there weren't many laws or rules or anything like that. He pointed out that they don't enforce helmet laws at all for motorcycles and scooters. Almost nobody wears a helmet. And he said that in Medan, if you tried to ride a scooter without a helmet, the police would stop you and fine you, but not here in Tanjung Balai. And then he pointed out that there are no traffic lights at all. And that was something I've thought about in the past. I kept thinking, yeah, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen a traffic light here in Tanjung Balai at any intersection. And he pointed that out. And it's like, oh yeah, you know. So I must be right about that. So I think this is my intersection. This smaller road heads down to the produce market. And I don't know if I can ride my bike through the market. There's a hotel here, the Hotel Hayani. I'd never come across it before, but it looks like a very low budget kind of place. So I'm right at the beginning of the market area, just the outer edges. So from here should be a lot of activity. I'm just trying to get through the market, and that will take me to the main bridge that goes across the river. And then I follow the roads there to get back out to the ferry terminal where all the fish processing centers are, the fish docks. Okay, so there's still life here in the market area, even if the rest of the city is somewhat shut down. I'll probably end up getting off the bike and walking it for a while. But But I'll ride the bike for as long as I can. A lot of people ride their scooters through the market. Yeah, not so busy today. Most days, look, there'd be no way you could really ride your bike through here, but I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, from here it looks like better to walk the bike. I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, this is the busiest part of the market here. Hello.
Welcome Tanjung Balai.
Thank you. I always have the same thought when I go through these markets, is that if I were on the city council, the first thing I try to do is make the market area vehicle free, pedestrian only. It would make it so much more pleasant. But everybody here is so you know, connected to their scooters and motorcycles. It's like the central part of their life here. So it'd be pretty hard for people to make that adjustment. Their entire life is centered on the scooter. Taking kids to school, going to work, shopping, even these market stalls getting their goods for sale. It's all done by becak and scooter and motorcycles. Take that away, and the lives of everybody here would be in turmoil. But I do wonder what would happen in terms of the economics of the place. Wonder if anybody's ever done a study about that. Like figure out how much money each market stall makes on a daily basis. Hello. I'm fine, thank you. And then change it to pedestrian only, ban all vehicles, and see whether people make more money or less money. My gut instinct is that business would be better. People would be more inclined to go shopping here, and this guy's got a big load of ice and fish. He's too wide to fit through there. But it feels like if people were on foot here, they would end up slowing down and buying more, spending more time at each market stall. Anyway, it's a pretty small market, really, end to end. We're almost at the end of it now. Wonder who the horn person is. There's always somebody who just loves their horns. Yeah, this guy, he's got another problem. It's just not wide enough for him and his load of chickens. He's gonna have a lot of trouble getting through. Yeah, a bit of a bottleneck here. Another becak loaded down with ice.
What is your name?
My name is Douglas. Just inching his way through. Lots of eggplant, my favorite. Yeah, and here's the bridge.
Where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Oh.
Yeah.
But basically come from Canada?
Not really. I came from Malaysia.
Oh, okay.
Indonesia ferry.
Be careful, mister.
I will. Thank you.
Hi, how are you, mister?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, welcome to Indonesia.
Thank you. I think I might walk across the bridge too, just to take in my surroundings. Got not exactly a sidewalk, but got a ledge here that I can walk on, roll my bike along the side of the road. Way off on my right, that's where I went the other day. That was my first bike ride to take a look at the fishing boats. Yeah, this is fishing boat bike ride number 2. A lot of people will, hello, ask me questions that are not that easy to answer. Like that woman just asked me, where are you from? And then she wanted to know, well, did I come all the way from Canada by bicycle? And of course, no, I didn't. But in a way, I mean, my journey with the bicycle did start in Canada. I brought the bicycle from Canada. Maybe that's the question she was asking. I'm fine, thank you. Because of course you can't cross the oceans on a bicycle, so there's no way I could actually ride my bike from Canada. Anyway, I never quite know exactly how to answer. Thank you. One of those questions. My life doesn't always fit into a neat category like that. How I ended up here pushing my bike across this bridge would be a longer story. It's not really a yes-no question.
Mister, itu disebut kebakaran.
I find the intersection monuments in the middle of these roundabouts fascinating. They really date the city. They look like a monument from a very long time ago. The clock shattered, the decoration, the style, everything is clearly from decades ago. And I know that around here I could go down to the river where there are a lot of fishing boats, so I'm going to stop and take a look at Google Maps and see whether I want to make a detour or not. So yeah, I looked at Google Maps, and there is a very interesting area to explore here. There's like a tributary to the Asahan River. It goes in a big loop over here on my right with lots of fishing boats and residential neighborhoods. It'd be quite interesting, but if I do go down there, I'll end up probably spending so much time there that I'll never make it to the my original destination that I planned. So for today, I think I'm just going to stay focused on going to the dock area. There's an area on the other side of the dock with a lot of fishing boats on the river, but it looks like it's an open area and would be relatively easy to get down there on my bike and walk around. This area on my right, much denser, and take a lot of effort to find your way through those streets and down to the river. So, just gonna keep it simple today. The economic life of these towns constantly amazes me. And I don't know whether it's true or not, but it always feels like it's a bit busier with more buying and selling going on here than in a place like Canada. But whenever I talk about that, it always strikes me that it could be just because everything here takes place out in the open. Like even all the wholesale buying and selling is also like out here on the streets. And all the wholesale operations in Canada, you wouldn't see it anywhere because it takes place inside warehouses. It's all hidden. You don't see it. Even like deliveries to stores tend to be designed so that all the deliveries go in through the back. Customers go in through the front. So you never see a lot of the behind the scenes activity. But in a place like Indonesia, everything is out in the open. So you see all of it all at once. And the other part of it might be that there's a routine in Canada, at least I grew up with the routine, where my mother would go to the grocery store once a week on grocery day. And then she would buy all of her groceries for the week on one trip. And then it all goes into the fridge and into the freezer, and it's all organized, and she has everything she needs for the week. But here well, I don't know, but a lot of people, I think, buy their food on a daily basis. Fresh vegetables, fresh fish from the market, and then so they buy all the food for today, going to the market in the morning, and then tomorrow morning they come back again. So they buy fresh food every day. So they make a lot more trips to the market. Hello. But that is only a guess on my part. Don't really know what's going on. I'll put up a screenshot on Google Maps where I am right now. That's me, the blue dot. And then you can see off to the right, that's the tributary that I was talking about. So you could make your way through all those small streets and find a lot of fishing boats. But there is one, I should be able to see something of that from the river up ahead. There's a bridge going across the river. And then after that bridge, I could make my way down if I wanted to, but I don't think I will. This is the bridge I was talking about just up here, and I think I'm going to walk my bike across again just to go slowly and take it all in. Got a man ahead of me with a bicycle. He's I don't think he doesn't have the gearing to ride his bike up this steep incline. I could, of course. I'm just walking it just to go slowly and look around. Yeah, it looks like he's selling ice cream. Yeah. Exploring this river. Oh, okay, there. Off. Hello. Off on the right. I should try to get across the road. Yeah, that's basically what I've been talking about. See if I can get across. Whew. Yeah. So there's all the boats on the river that I was talking about, this tributary. It's much, much smaller. And yeah, it looks interesting. Maybe I can save that for another day if I'm still here. But yeah, I'm parked on the side of the bridge here. And so yeah, there's the river. I was thinking it would be nice to have a canoe or something like that, like a small boat. If I could hire a boat to take me up and down this river, that would be more interesting. Maybe I can look into that. Hello. Yeah, it's probably best to walk my bike the rest of the way across. It's a bit narrow, a bit crowded out here on the bridge. Hello. Yeah. Good morning. Hello.
Hey, hey.
How are you?
Where do you come from? I am fine.
I'm from Canada.
Canada?
Canada.
Oh, how many person?
Oh, only one.
Only one?
Satu orang.
Satu orang. Bisa bahasa Indonesia?
No, saya tidak bisa bicara bahasa Indonesia. You know.
Oh, Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Where do you go?
I'm going to the river to look at the fishing boats.
Fishing?
Yeah. Just to take pictures of the fishing boats.
To Bagan, no? To Bagan. You know Bagan?
Oh yeah, Bagan Asahan.
Huh?
Yeah, Bagan Asahan. No, just up here, there's the Tibuk, Tibuk.
Yeah, Teluk Nibung.
Yeah, and then on the other side, there's many, many fishing boats. So yeah, I want to take pictures and.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, do you know this building here? What do they do in this building?
PT, perusahaan. Company.
Company for fish? For fish?
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope so. Bye-bye. So I'm in the district that I wanted to check out. There's all these large buildings on my right, sort of warehouses, and I think they process or they unload the big fishing boats here, I think. Yeah, there's one, they're open. I'm wondering whether if I just sort of walk across, would they mind if I take a look inside one of them? Wow, it looks like there's a huge machine in there, maybe washing the fish. Whoa. Hello. Oh, your security. Yeah. Can I go? Just take a look? Yeah. Man, what is happening here? This could be an ice manufacturing facility. Wow, look at all those fishing boats. Huge ones. These are big boats. So it looks like here the fishing boats dock and then pick up a load of ice. Look at that, they're actually cutting them to size and putting each of them into a bag of some kind. Hello. So it looks like, yeah, that's a giant refrigeration machine over there, basically making ice. I had no idea that's what was in here. Terima kasih. This one looks more like a place where they're unloading the boats, I think. This isn't an ice center. All of these large yellow boxes, they're like insulated for carrying fish to the market. And the endless job of repairing the nets. Yeah, that work would never ever stop. Terima kasih. It's a good place to work here, though. Nice and cool inside this wooden building. It almost feels, it's not refrigerated, obviously, or air conditioned, but it feels cooler than outside, oddly enough.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So that was fascinating. Solved a little bit of a mystery of the big warehouses along the river there. Hello. We're unloading fish, picking up ice manufacturing, fixing nets, pretty much everything that might go on in a fishing market for a fishing industry goes on inside these buildings. And right now I'm entering the busy market area This is where they sell fish at the side of the road. Got one car kind of blocking the road right now. Got a bit of gridlock. I'm fine, thank you. So I think just up ahead will be the entrance to the ferry dock if you want to go to Malaysia, which I eventually will want to do, but not today. It's just up here, a short distance. And my goal is to go around it and then down to the river on the far side. And there I should be able to see some more fishing boats. Yeah, I'm not sure what the schedule is for the ferry to Malaysia right now. The last one that I took left very early in the morning, so ended up coming down to the dock at 5 or 6 in the morning. Anyway, it was pretty early, whatever time it was. And if it's still the same, there shouldn't be much going on right now. It will get very busy here when the boat arrives this afternoon and when it leaves in the morning, but midday, there's probably not much happening. Yeah, right here. Just up ahead is the gate entrance to the dock, and I have to go around it on this road here. Well, I found an intersection that had a sign on it with a boat. So that's for someone in search of fishing boats, that's probably a good sign. But let me check Google Maps, see where I am. I'm going to take another screenshot of Google Maps, put it in here, and right where the blue dot is, that's where I am, which is near the passenger terminal. And then I'll take a closer shot, and there you can see I'm turning off the main road and going down those smaller roads heading to the shore of the river. And in theory, there should be a bunch of fishing boats down there. Maybe I can get a little bit closer to them. I'm fine, thank you. Oh, the first part of the river there had the large warehouse buildings. And here, there's a little bridge. Oh yeah, so there's all the large boats that I saw on Google Maps. And yeah, you'd have to go through the warehouses to get to them. But here there's more of a shore. Oh. Hello. Yeah, the road is pretty rough here. Hello. How are you? So this is one of the open areas that I saw on Google Maps where it looked like you could get close to the river and the boats. Not exactly a beach though, but yeah, you can at least you can see them from here. Yeah, these guys are in the water there, repairing the side of the boat. Yeah, not an easy life. Yeah, to learn something about anything that's going on here, I'd have to meet somebody like the captain of a boat and sit down with Google Translate. But without that, you're sort of restricted to just looking at it from a distance and making guesses as to how it all works. Mosque here, a bit unusual, this one. The bright blue and yellow lettering, more colorful than I'm accustomed to seeing. It's very nice. I like the cheerful colors. Hey, kitty. It's an interesting area. Of course, it's hard to figure out exactly what everything here is all about. interesting community with all these narrow pathways. Reminds me of similar areas in the Philippines. And as you go along here, there are all these side alleyways, quite narrow, that go down to the river shore. And you can see the boats. Looks like this guy's unloading some fish. You want to continue? So yeah, he's got a bucket of fish there. Oh yeah, nice. This gives me a nice look at what this whole region is like. As I said, all the streets I've been going along, they have these little alleyways that come down to the water. And then here you can see all of the boats. There's a fishing boat going out to sea, or going out to the Malacca Strait. Yeah, from shore they're actually going a lot faster than I would normally think they're going. Like from the ferry, they don't look like they're moving that fast, but yeah, that boat's got a lot of power. It's moving pretty fast. Yeah, I got some old boats here, just the skeletons remaining. Hello.
Udah.
A lot of fish. That was a big load of fish. Go back. think he was telling me that there's nowhere to go in this direction. And I could see on Google Maps that the road here, it dead ends up ahead. That's fine with me. I want to go as far as it'll go. See where it ends, and then I can turn around. I think it might go back down to the river again. But yeah, this is very reminiscent of my time in Tacloban in the Philippines. The riverside areas there, the ocean, the shore areas look very much like this, with maybe a lot more houses on stilts in Tacloban. Hello. Here's an interesting alleyway, heads to some docks. Nice. Get another look at some of the fishing boats here. This whole area. I've passed by here so many times on the ferry from Port Dickson and from Port Klang back in the old days, and I've looked at these boats so many times from the river, but I've never come down this way before, so I've never seen all these boats from shore. Hello. I think this might be the end of the road. It curves here, heads down to the river, and that might be the end. Oop. maybe not. Hello. I know that at a certain point on the shore here, there are some really big boats, a bunch of them docked together. And I thought that might be where the road ended, but maybe it's a little bit further ahead. But looks like there's an opening down here. Might be able to get my bearings to see where I am. Nice, yeah, it opens up again right here. Ah, there's the big boats just up ahead.
Mancing.
Saya, yeah, it's a video. Yeah, video. Hello. Oh, sure. Okay. Come out. Come on. Wait a minute. Move this there. There we go.
Ada efeknya.
Bisa pakai biasa. Si pacut.
Jangan lah. Tak ada efek kau.
Tak parah ya.
Ya. Awas. Dah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you. That's a GoPro. Take take a camera, take a picture.
Tak memancing dok, boleh nak
Yeah.
kamera. Bahasa Inggris. Boleh tak ibu Ica cocok.
Hey, nice to meet you. Bye bye. Let me take a look at something. So yeah, that is the end of this road, and if I wanted to see the big boats, I'd have to work my way back out to the main road, continue along, and go down another side road. I may do that. We'll see. Hey, kitty.
Kemana Pak Bule? Kemana?
Masa?
Ayo ako yung tukunin ni Kakang. Sa Medan!
So I've made it back to the main road, a lot busier all of a sudden, and I'm going to try to track down the road that goes down to the big boats. And maybe once I take a look at those big boats, that might be the end of my visit to this part of Tanjung Balai. Quite interesting to get an up-close look. This neighborhood that I've only ever seen from the river. I've never seen it from inside. It was very interesting. I've been looking for a street or a road to take me back down to the river, and it turns out there was no road, so I kept going by it. I couldn't find it. I kept missing it over and over. This is exactly where I was before. So maybe I'm completely turned around again in the wrong place. This is exactly the neighborhood where I just came through. Oh well, that's not so bad. I can go through this residential area on my way, take a second look around. There's a scooter coming up behind me. Yeah, so I guess I missed that other road altogether, but that's all right. Gives me a chance to go through this neighborhood again, but down a different narrow laneway, I guess. And pop out the other side. Hello. Yeah, I think this is more or less where you enter this residential area right here. Oh, that's the actual entrance to the dock. So this is the far side of the ferry terminal dock, the international dock. So yeah, I do know where I am. So I'm heading back to the main road now, and when I reach it, I'll be turning left, heading back into Tanjung Balai. So I think that's the end of this small adventure for this morning. As I said, I just wanted to see what this area looked like. Go check out the river shore there. I didn't really have the opportunity to get onto any of the boats. There weren't really a lot of people out working today, again, because it's still the holidays. It doesn't have that bustling feeling like it normally would. But I think for now I'm going to shut down the cameras for my ride back into town. So as always, thanks for coming along with me. Yeah, much more of a busy road here. And as always, if you made it this far in the video, you're amazing. That makes you a member of the Crunch Club. Put CC in the comments to let me know. And there will be some bonus material, bonus content on the Planet Doug Patreon, some pictures, perhaps some little stories, little video clips that don't end up here in the main video. If you want to see any of that, yeah, head over to the Planet Doug Patreon and I'll see you there. So for now, shutting down, and I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to the Planet Doug Blue Dot feature for this video. I wasn't going to do a blue dot because in the video itself I inserted a lot of screenshots from Google Maps, and I've been posting the blue dot as a separate video lately because it is one of the benefits that I folded into the Planet Doug Patreon for the various tiers. But one thing I figured out is that when I separate the video like that and specify it for certain tiers, pretty much nobody ever watches it anyway, and nobody is even aware that it exists. So, since I completed this video, I thought, well, let's put a blue dot at the end as a surprise for anybody that stumbles across it. So what I do in the blue dot is just go over Google Maps and talk about where I am and where I went. But let's zoom out a little bit just to get the full view. Of course, I'm on the island of Sumatra here, which is part of Indonesia, and none of the countries have moved since the last time I did a blue dot. So we still have Malaysia across the Strait of Malacca, and to the north we still have the rest of Southeast Asia, Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, China way up there, and off to the east we've got the Philippines, and then if you head off to the west you run into Sri Lanka and India. So that is where I am here, the blue dot. Let's zoom in. I keep forgetting which way to scroll my wheel. So let's go to about here. So here is the Strait of Malacca, separating Malaysia from Sumatra. And my journey began in Kuala Lumpur, and a friend of mine drove me down to Port Dickson. In Port Dickson, I hopped on the Indomal Fast Ferry. I did that right in the middle of the Raya holidays, the Idul Fitri holiday period, at the end of Ramadan. So everything was really busy. And I rode the ferry across the Malacca Strait right here to the entrance to this river. So let's zoom in here. I'm getting closer to where exactly I am. And the ferry went up the river around this bend, and there is a ferry dock right here, an international ferry port. And that's where I disembarked, went through customs and immigration, and then I made my way to my hotel, which is here, the Hotel Malahayati. And I've been staying here for a couple of weeks now. Again, I wasn't supposed to be here this long, but that's just how things ended up once again. Mainly because I thought while I was here in Tanjung Balai, I might as well go out exploring a little bit on my bike, and then I figure I'll do that for a couple of days, and then I'll hit the road. But if you know anything about YouTube and YouTubers, you go out to shoot a video, that's wonderful and that's relatively easy, but now comes editing and uploading the video, and before you know it, poor Doug on Planet Doug ends up spending days and days on his laptop working on these videos. So I've actually been here about 2 weeks when I really only intended to be here for maybe 3 days at the most. So I've gone out on my bicycle on a couple of trips around Tanjung Balai, and then I threw together some videos about those experiences. So on this day, and in this video, which hopefully you just watched, I went here. You can see where my cursor is circling. That's basically that was my destination. I wanted to ride my bike from here, the Hotel Malahayati down at the bottom of the screen. I wanted to ride my bike from here to here, and that's because this is a big fishing district. There's a whole bunch of fish markets here, and then there's a residential community here that lives right beside the river, all based on the fishing industry. So that's where I wanted to go. But of course, since I was going on a bicycle, I had to cover a lot of ground to get there, and I thought I might as well go to some other interesting areas. Like rather than just going straight there, kind of pick a route that takes me through some interesting areas, mainly the produce market. So let's zoom in a little bit farther on this area here, my local neighborhood. So there is the Hotel Malahayati. I got on my bicycle there, and then I rode down this street saying hello to all the people who are calling out to me. And then this is a main street of Tanjung Balai. I turned right here,
And I followed this street all the way to here. And because I looked at Google Maps, I'd figured all this out in advance. I knew that if I turned left here, I could go down this road to this point, and this is where you see the produce market, this street right here. So this is the market area of Tanjung Balai. I got off my bicycle here, and I just walked my bicycle through this busy market until I got to the end. And then I crossed the bridge here, and right about here is where I saw the monument. I think they call them Tugu, something like that, a park or monument with a clock tower, and I talked about that there. And then I followed this road, and then this road is going to take me all the way to the fish market area. This, by the way, is the train station of Tanjung Balai, so that's located right there. So let's move the map. I think I passed by this mosque, and then when I got to about here, I was thinking about turning into these small streets and going to this tributary. Because as I talked about in the video, if you look at Google Maps satellite view, you can see that this river is packed with fishing boats. So let's take a look at that now since we're here. So now if I turn on satellite view, which is what I did before this trip, yeah, look at that. Look at all those boats there. All these boats here, and as you go up the river, more and more fishing boats, all docked along the side. Look at that. It looks amazing on Google satellite view, and then the cluster of fishing boats continues all the way to here, to this bridge, and then the water becomes too shallow from this point. But this, I was thinking about exploring this area. I mean, why ride my bike all the way to the fish market to look at fishing boats when I have all of these fishing boats right here? So I was thinking about that. Let's go back to the regular view, zoom out. And here it is. This is the river that we just looked at on satellite view where all the boats are. So I thought about turning and heading in this direction and then exploring this river, but I decided against that, thinking, wow, I made up my mind to go to the fish market, so let's stick to the plan. If I want to go here, I can go here on another day. So I continued riding along, and then when I got to this bridge, this is where I got off my bike, and I shot about 30 seconds of GoPro video. All of this, by the way, was shot with my Insta360 X3 camera, which was a lot of fun. I really enjoy using that camera, but then it takes a long time to reframe all the video, and you get very poor resolution. When you look at this section here where I go to the bridge and I click over, I click over to an old GoPro Hero 9, an older GoPro, and even the Hero 9 video looks so much better than the Insta360 video. And if I'd used my Hero 12 here, it would have looked even that much better. So you really see the difference between the two cameras when you look at the GoPro video, and then I go back to the Insta360 video. But anyway, the Insta360 allows me to reframe afterwards and keep moving the camera direction. I don't have to aim the camera at anything, which makes my day a lot easier. But anyway, I continued cycling along this main road, continuing in this direction, and then here is my destination. Here is the passenger terminal, and then this is the residential area that I wanted to visit. But before I got there, I visited a bunch of warehouses. Like all along here, there are some fish warehouses. And I'd been looking at them for years, basically, but I'd never taken the time to go inside one of them. So this time I rolled my bike into one of these warehouses. Let's click on satellite view, and we can maybe see what I'm talking about. I'm not sure what buildings I went into, to be honest, but here you can see all of these warehouses. I'm not sure which one I went into. Might have been this one, because this one was the ice warehouse. This is where they make ice, and that was fascinating to see. Though looking back at the video, I really failed at this point, and I'm really disappointed in myself because I went into this ice warehouse, and for some reason on this day, during the day of this trip, I just never clicked into that mode where you go out of your comfort zone and talk to people directly and communicate with them using Google Translate and really insert yourself into the scene. I guess I just wasn't in the mood to do that on this day. I just didn't have the energy level. So even though I went into this ice warehouse, and even when I was in the warehouse, I was looking at the ice making machine, and I knew that as a good YouTuber, I should get off my bike, get out my GoPro Hero 12, set it up with a microphone, and then go to the ice making machine and take a close look at it. Because I wanted to know, well, how does this thing work? How do they make ice? But I just wasn't in the mood for some reason. And when I went into this warehouse, I passed by a security guard. And I kind of felt like I wasn't supposed to be in there. The security guard says, oh, it's fine, you can go take a look. But I just didn't feel entirely comfortable sticking my camera right into people's faces and interact. I just did not have that connection with anybody that made me feel comfortable there. And over the last few days, everywhere I've gone in Tanjung Balai, there were a lot of people asking me for money all the time, shouting dollar, 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 dollar. And some of the fishermen here started shouting dollar, dollar, dollar at me. And I don't really have money that I can give these guys anyway. Whether it's a good idea or not, I don't have the money to give them. So it ends up being a little bit of an awkward situation where they think I'm a very, very wealthy tourist from Canada, which I'm not. And they just sort of expect me to start handing out money to everyone. But then I thought if I got off my bike and I started interviewing all these men, then I'm getting something of value from them, but I'm not giving them anything in return, i.e. dollar, dollar, dollar. So anyway, I ended up not taking a close look at the ice making machinery, and I really wish I had. And then I went into another warehouse. Might have been this one or this one. I can't really tell exactly where I was. And then I rode through the fish market area. And then we get closer to the ferry terminal right here. And I knew there was a gate here. I think you can see it right there. There's a gate. And in order to go to the ferry terminal building, you have to pass by a security gate and you pay a parking fee and everything like that. And I knew I wouldn't be able to go in there anyway. I don't have a ticket. I'm not scheduled to go on one of the boats. So I turned left at this intersection. I planned all this in advance by looking at Google Maps. I got to this intersection, and then basically I went in this direction, I believe, or it might have been this one. I think I went down this one, the main road, and I followed it all the way to, I think I have to go back to normal view to figure this out. Okay, now this makes more sense. I followed this main road until I got to here, and I saw a sign at this intersection, and the sign had a fishing boat or a boat on it. Maybe they were saying this way to the terminal, now that I think about it. But at the time, I thought they were pointing me in the way of fishing boats. So I turned right here, went down here. There's another gate right here that goes to the ferry terminal, but I turned left. And then this is when I got into the residential district, what I called the residential community. So this whole area right here is where I went exploring. And again, I feel like I failed as a YouTuber because I went into this whole area, but I didn't really talk to anyone. I didn't set anybody up with Google Translate. I didn't get any information at all. But again, I just wasn't feeling it that day for some reason. I needed a local person to approach me, maybe somebody who spoke a little bit of English, somebody who I could relate to. And then if I had that connection, then I could have done a deeper dive into the lives of these people. But that never happened, and I ended up just basically walking my bicycle through here. So let's go back to satellite view, because I think that's a little bit more interesting. So I turned here, and then there's a little bridge right here where you overlook this district full of old fishing boats. And then I went into this area here. This is the mosque, and I walked into this open field. It's like a parking area for the mosque. And I could look at all the fishing boats here. The men were working on these two boats right here. They were in the water up to their waist and painting or scraping or working on the boats. And I shot a little bit of video there. Then I went back to the main road and continued right here to the corner. And I shot a little bit of video of this area right here. But then I couldn't go any further along here. I turned inward to this road, and I followed this road. Well, it's not a road, it's actually like a pathway, really. And I walked along the pathway, and then 2 or 3 times, if I saw an interesting laneway going to the water, I would walk down the laneway, go out onto the dock, shoot a bit of video, went back to this road, continued along, went out on the dock again, shot some video, back to this road, and then I continued all the way to the end right here, and then I knew from this map, it looked like the road dead-ended, like it stopped here. So that was my goal, was to get here and then turn around again. So, but it turned out I could go further than that. I went all the way out to the dock here, looked around, then I went back into this residential area. And then my idea was to go here because I saw all these big fishing boats right here. There's kind of a dock here, a more official dock, maybe with refueling centers or unloading equipment. I wasn't sure what was there, and I wanted to go here, but I couldn't get there from here. So when I was looking at Google Maps, the only way I could do it was to go down this road. I thought there was a road there. So what I decided to do, I turned around and I went all the way back in this direction to the main road, and then I kept trying to find this road, but I couldn't find it. I rode my bike way off in this direction. I went way too far. Then I realized my mistake, and I turned around, and I went all the way back to here. I missed it again, then I went back again. I could not find it because I was looking for a road, but it turns out this is not a road. Maybe this is the road I should have gone down, but I was looking for this one, and it's actually just a pathway, and I never ever saw it. So I gave up on that journey, and I ended up going back down this pathway. I thought I was on this path, but in fact I was right back on the path I'd been on before, and I went all the way back to the Riverside Community here, and then I just basically retraced my steps until I left this community over here, and then I rode back out to the main road, and I ended the Planet Doug video right here. And that's where I was riding my bike along this road, and I said my usual conclusion that I'm shutting down the cameras, and that is the end of the video. And then if we scroll all the way back out, then I rode my bike. I wasn't shooting any Planet Doug video anymore. I kept my 360 camera running, but I haven't done anything with that video yet. But anyway, I rode my bike all the way back along this road, crossed the bridge, and then I went to an ice cream parlor here. I had some ice cream and a bubble milk tea, and then I got back to this road and then rode all the way back to the Malahayati Hotel. So there you have it. That was everywhere that I went in this latest Planet Doug video. So that's the end of the blue dot. I talked a lot longer than I expected. I'm up at like 20 minutes long, but I'll stick it at the end of this extended cut of this video as a surprise for anybody who might stumble across it. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video.